Oh man, a headline hit the desk and I said, oh, it's time to talk about this one, where it said Donald Trump is not racist, according to Stephen A. Smith. I said, oh my God, two guys not only that are major figures in our world, but also two guys that I've actually encountered. Let's talk about this. Stephen A. Smith, while speaking at the Semaphore Media Summit, which I've never been invited to, that's why I probably butchered the name, he was there with Fox News, and Smith spoke on whether or not he believes former President Donald Trump is a racist. And he said, quote, I would tell you this, I think when people call him racist and stuff like that, I've never thought about Trump like that. Smith said via Fox News, he's not against black people, he's against all things not named Trump. There's a difference. That's right. Now, we're going to get into this. We're going to unpack it, but first, we always got to lay the foundation. Stephen A. also confirmed that he's known Trump for a long time, and he's never thought of him like that. Quote, again, I knew Trump before he ran for presidency. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to him. He was a huge sports fan. He used to throw a lot of events at his casinos and stuff like that. I'm going to now always do quotes in a voice, some voice. I'm going to pick a voice, all right? So I'm going to keep it going. I genuinely liked him. I didn't know who this guy was running for president. I think he's changed. Yep. And he also went on to say he won't get Stephen A.'s vote. Okay. All right. Where do I start with this one, right? I only got so many minutes. You know what I mean? I mean, it seems like it's a conversation every single day about Donald Trump or Stephen A. But now it's Donald Trump and Stephen A. First thing I want to just unpack with you guys is, how do you vote if you had to prioritize? You got to pick one. I am not a fan of the person who says they don't pick one. Oh, they're the same. No two things are the same. Duh. You vote in priority for personality, how they are, how they're perceived to be, because be frank, most people don't get to meet who they're voting for. So are you voting for that personality, that persona, or are you voting for their policy? I'm looking in the comments to see what you guys say. Now, for me, I go with policy if I had to pick one over the other, right? When I get to the point where I'm like, a little off with the personality, whatever they're projecting them to be in terms of their image, and the policy, but you know what? Which one matters more to me is the one that potentially can affect me. That personality, that persona, yeah, that could change minds in terms of perception, but my reality would change faster with the policy changes, right? So I will always prioritize policy over personality. What's your priority in that pick? Let me take you back, because I remember there was a time where there was great esteem for Donald Trump. And it was weird how the narrative flipped. And I don't know specifically when it flipped. Certainly it was around the time he ran for presidency, because we noticed that this was the same guy that every rappers, black rappers especially, looked up to him and used him as a symbol of success. He was every black hero's name to use when you talk about affluence. Seriously, it was crazy. He's the same guy who was running in his campaign and also as a president who gave black people credit for building this nation in front of a group of all white people. He said, no, black people built this and they ain't get the credit. They're starting to get a little of it now. It was interesting. His HBCU support. All of that said, in 2016, it flipped. But in 2015, as late as 2015, because I could go all the way back to the 80s when we were talking about Donald Trump and Eric B. and Rakim and them, but 2015, Ray Sremmurd had a song. Remember Ray Sremmurd? Can't even say the last word because his drummer's backwards. I don't know what the hell. Love their music though. Shouldn't have made that triple album. That was too much. Here we go. Up Like Trump. Y'all remember that? Up Like Trump. Think that found out bump. Doing that little dance and all that. I was like, that was 2015, y'all. So that people were still loving Donald Trump. Black people were still loving Donald Trump. And then, turn off the music. Was it the man that changed or was it the machine? Because you know that machine, they can find something and run with it and program it. Algorithms is the machine. An algorithm is we're going to calculate what you're going to be able to digest, what you're going to be able to consume, what you're going to be able to see. Because the reality is so grand, therefore, you're not going to be able to see it all, but we'll program what you can see. What's interesting is you may follow 500 people on Instagram. Do you see 500 profiles every time you log on? No, you get 3. And then you're like, where's the 4th friend that I follow? Nope, we're going back to number 1 again. They posted again. You're like, damn, I follow 500 people and never, ever get to see all of them. That's the algorithm at play. That's the machine at play. But the real conversation is Donald Trump racist? The only thing I can lend to this and experience is the time that actually I look forward to seeing Donald Trump, because my boy was a member at his golf course in New Jersey. I think it's like 2010, somewhere around that world. I'm retired, but I'm still in better shape than I am now, right? So I'm walking around the golf course. Everybody's, whispering, golf etiquette. Then all of a sudden it started getting a little louder than a whisper because Donald Trump was in the building. Dude walked right up to us, Rory and I. He had actually met Rory before because he's a member, so they start chopping it up. Then he says hello to me, and he gave me that kind of like, hey, I know you, that you were good or kind of famous, but I don't, if I was Lawrence Taylor, he'd be like, Lawrence Taylor. But he's like, eh. Then he's like, Marcellus Wiley. Oh, okay. We putted around for a few minutes. Man went on his way, invited us to breakfast, but guess what? We actually declined it because we had to get our round in. That wasn't a smart decision back then. But the point is, I'm like Stephen A. in some respects of like, damn, I don't remember Donald Trump. Growing up, all I heard was he was this amazing figure of ascension and being the man. And then it just went off the rails. So educate each other. Let's talk through this situation because I want to hear those explicit Trump statements that turned you off, that turned everyone off to Donald Trump, where it's actually a conversation at a media summit. Is Donald Trump racist? So interesting conversation right there. Stephen A. says he's not voting for him. I don't know who I'm voting for. I always let them make that decision for me. I'll wait till those primaries.